Hey you, what is up? How's it going? This is Kazi from cleverprogrammer.com. Welcome to part 6 of this Django tutorial awesome epic series. In this video, we're going to be covering, this is actually going to be much shorter than the other ones, I hope and I think. We're going to be covering essentially how static files work in Django, okay, and how you can use them to customize your app's look and feel, okay? So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so writing your first app, part 6, right? So what are we doing now? Now we've built a tested web poll application. If you haven't done that, go back to part 5. If you haven't done part 5, go back to part 4. Make sure you're following this in order. And now we'll add a style sheet and an image, okay? So aside from HTML that your app generates, right, and shows, which is your front end, so far the voting thing that we have where it shows some text with radio buttons, your website needs to be able to do other things too, like show people images or pictures of cats or blog post images. It also needs to be able to serve up JavaScript if you have any JavaScript, right? So for example, if you don't know what JavaScript is, it's totally fine, but like anytime you're clicking a button and it like pops up a menu kind of thing, that's usually JavaScript going on there, okay? If you click something like a pop-up comes up, that's JavaScript. JavaScript is pretty much everywhere, so your website needs to be able to show some JavaScript, and it also needs to be able to serve CSS, okay, which is it's called stands for cascading style sheet, and you use this to stylize your app and make it look cool and beautiful, okay? And yeah, so that's usually what's necessary to complete a web page. In Django, we refer to these files as static files. Now, for small projects, right, this isn't a big deal because you can just keep the static file somewhere where your web server can find it. However, in bigger projects, especially those comprised of like multiple apps, right? So if you have multiple apps like polls and blog and e-commerce, like whatever, dealing with the multiple sets of static files provided by each application starts to get tricky. That's why Django.contrib.static files is there for you. If you're a beginner, don't worry about this part too much, but this is for more advanced people. I'm mentioning this part, okay? Otherwise, I'd kind of skip over it. It collects static files from each of your applications and any other places you specify into a single location that can easily be served in production. Okay, so now let's get to customizing your app's look and feel. So first, we're going to need to create a directory called static in your polls directory. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I will open up Atom, and we will go in our polls. Hopefully you can see that on the left-hand side. I don't know how to make that bigger, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we're going to go inside of our polls, and inside of our polls, I think this is where it wants us to make it. So I'm going to right-click this polls, not the templates one. So right-click here, create a new folder, and call it static. Done. Okay, cool. And for those of you wondering, like, how do I switch like that? It's Command and Tab. And on Windows, that's Alt and Tab. Cool. Django will look for static files there, similarly to how Django finds templates inside poll/templates. So you know how there's like poll/templates and Django automatically looks for templates there? Well, just like that, for your static files, Django is going to look inside of your folder static. Okay, so Django's static file setting contains a list of finders that know how to discover static files from various sources. One of the defaults is app directories finder, which looks for a static subdirectory in each of the installed apps. Okay, so Django will automatically look for a folder called static under each of the installed apps. Okay, so right now we have polls as one of our apps that we created, and remember, to install this app we had to do this line in our settings file under installed apps, and then now Django is able to find its static folder. If you have another app, again, like a blog app, and you have static folder under there, and you install the blog app, then Django will be able to find the blog apps static files, okay, like images, JavaScript, CSS. Those are all considered static files. All right, the admin uses the same directory structure for its static files. Cool, so admin site works the same way. Within the static directory you have just create another directory called polls. So inside of static, we're going to create another directory, and we're going to call it polls. Okay, so kind of like how you have polls, templates, polls, you're going to have polls, static polls. Okay, similar. And then inside of here, we're going to create a file called styles.css. So I'm going to do new file, and I'll do style.css, just like that. Okay, so this is our CSS. Again, in the command line, if you haven't activated your virtual environment, make sure to do source activate my site if you haven't done that, just in case you need to do something in the command line, which you're not gonna in this video, I don't think. Because of how the app directories finder static files finder works, you can refer to this static file in Django simply as poll/styles.css, similar to how you reference the path for templates. So remember how for templates you just go poll/index.html? Well, for this is poll/style.css. Okay. And for namespacing, it's just like templates. So the same reason why you put templates under the same reason why you make a new folder called polls under templates is the same reason why you create another folder called polls under static. It's so then if you have multiple different apps, there's no collision based on like you having the same name for any of your CSS files or any of your HTML files. That's what they're saying here. Okay, now we're gonna do some fun CSS stuff. Okay, and we're gonna keep it pretty simple. So in our style.css, what I'm basically saying is that any link tag under a bullet point or a listed thing, color it green. Okay, so A stands for A is like your link tags, anything that contains a link. Basically, we're turning almost all of our links on our current site green. Next, add the following at the top of polls/templates/polls/index.html. So we're going to go in our templates, polls, index.html, and at the top, what we're going to add is we're going to say load static. So we're going to add that right here, load static. So what this is now able to do is load our static files. And then right here, I'm going to add this. So I'm creating a link to a style sheet. The type is text/CSS, and the link is this. Now I'm using the link in a dynamic way. This is the best way to link it instead of like hard coding the actual path. And you just say poll/style.css. Okay, that's how we refer to it. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's go to our website. So I'm going to do Python manage.py run server. And we're going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to go 127 that /8000, or I'm sorry, /polls. And you can see that all the links are green, right? If I go back to my style sheet and turn it into something else, so let's go back into, style.css is right there. I'll bring it here. If I change this to like blue, save, Command S, go back here, refresh, you can see that all of this is now blue. If yours didn't turn blue, close out of your server, or break the server with Control C, and then try it again, and it should be fixed. And yep, there we go. And also make sure to save. Okay. And another way to go to this same link is doing HTTP localhost :8000/polls. Okay. And that should take you localhost :8000/polls is the same thing as your 127.0.0.1:8000. Do the same thing. All right, so that's essentially how we got that to work. Let's bring this guy here. Now we also can add a background image. Okay, so we'll create a subdirectory for images, create an images subdirectory. So basically inside of our static and polls, we're going to create static polls. We're going to create a new directory and we're going to call it images. This is where we're going to put all of our images. So it should look like this, and then you can put whatever image you want, right? Background.gif. Or so what we'll do is we'll go online and like grab an image. So let's get cats. Right click and then just save the image, and you can save it whatever you want. I'm just gonna call it like cat background. Oh, sorry, we can't just save it wherever we want. I'm gonna save it under my site, or sorry, polls, static, polls, images, and I'm gonna save this cat underscore background, and it's automatically a .jpeg file because I have the format selected like that. I'm gonna hit save. It's saved. I'm gonna open up my Atom, and under images, I now have my cat background.jpg. So let's go back to the tutorial. And it's basically saying to do this, add this to your style sheet. So I'm gonna add this now. I'm gonna say, so from images, instead of background.gif, mine is called cat underscore background.jpg, like that. So now it's gonna find, basically in our HTML code, it's gonna find anywhere we have the body tag, it's gonna make its background this cat image. Okay, so if I go to you know, our index.html, if any of this stuff is in a body tag, it'll add that to the background. So let's check it out. It says, and you should see the background loaded in the top left of the screen. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see if they're in line. And there you go. It's there, right? So pretty cool how it works. And what I could also do is I could go to my index.html and like wrap maybe a certain part of it in the body tag. So like maybe the part that's in the for loop, right? So I can go like body tag, and I can choose to close the body tag outside of this unordered list. So I can go body like that, okay, if I want to. And I go back, I refresh, and the same thing. Okay, so this is essentially like a little bit of how HTML and CSS like talk with each other. Okay, and now let's look at kind of their last notes here. So they're okay. So warning. Of course, the static template tag is not available for use in static files like your style sheet, which aren't generated by Django. So in your CSS file, you can't use something like static like that. It's not gonna know what that is, and you can't do like if-then statements here. These are just your static files, hence they're not dynamic and can't do like variables and cool stuff, right? Like your index, your HTML file can with the which has the Django templating system in there. You should always use relative paths. So here we're not using like /user /clever programmer /github /mysite /mysite or /polls what else is it, static /polls /images, right? We're not using the absolute path. That's the definition of absolute path. We're using a relative path to it, to your static file between each other, because then you can change static underscore URL. So this is again a little bit more advanced. I'm gonna skip over this one, but you can read that if you want. And that's essentially how you work with general like static files on Django. There you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was informative and juicy and you loved it. If you did love it, please leave a comment. please like it and share it with at least one friend, because if you have at least one friend or family member, sorry, what's happening with my mic? If you have one friend or one family member who's doing development alongside you, is going to boost your success rate up by at least 60%. They have like scientific studies on this. So share it. Maybe somebody will watch it alongside and you will become web developers together. That was one. The last part I want to leave you with is, if you are serious, you want to become a web developer, take a look at my new course coming up. It's called The Profitable Programmer. And I'll put the link over here. The link will also be in the description. Join the VIP waitlist for that course. It's going to be coming up soon. I'm going to drop it like it's hot. And I will drop this course a few times a year, like maybe 2 or 3 times in a full year. It's very exclusive. But if you join this course, you will learn how to become a web developer. You will become badass at Django. You will have apps hosted online. You will have a portfolio, and you will learn how to get clients and earn an income with Python as a developer, okay? That is my promise to you. So go to that page, put in your email, join the VIP waitlist, so then you're the first one to know when this course opens up. As well as, I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to let you download your Python Earning Potential Calculator if you go put in your email right now. Okay. Lastly, I just wanted to say that in the next tutorial, we're going to be covering part 7, customizing the admin form. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I love your faces off, and I'll see you in the next video.